Greetings everybody and welcome back to the landscape. I'm going to continue my series talking about just photographing a subject. I've only done one of these and it came about as a result of a question from a subscriber who commented on a video very kindly and said, you know, would you mind just finding a subject and then talking about how you approach that subject, because they found that kind of thing useful. So that's what I'm doing here. So today I'm on a hillside surrounded by lots and lots of trees, and I've also got light coming and going. That's creating that situation where you've got objects illuminated by light and objects not illuminated by light. So it's a bit of a cliche, I suppose, but you're spotlighting a subject, and that helps to reveal that subject, make it abundantly clear what it is that you're trying to say, but also it allows that subject to speak. And the subject that I'm photographing is a spring tree in front of me, and in the sunlight, the bright, fresh green of spring, it really sings. So the subject reacts well to the light. It just makes it look more appealing, and it says so much more about the season that I'm actually in when I'm recording this video. Now I'm going to do this one slightly differently in that I'm not going to put the video camera behind the stills camera and so forth. I'm going to actually try and handhold the video camera, or maybe I'll stick it on the tripod and then just talk about the decisions that I've made that have resulted in the composition that I've got in front of me. Because I was actually slightly further to my right when I first set up and started to compose this scene, and I've made quite a key decision that's resulted in a much cleaner composition. So let me move you. I'll get my trusty viewing aid out, which I have in my pocket, and I'll try and describe and talk you through what is it that there's, you know, what was the decision that I made, and most crucially, why did I make it? So let's get you. So my subject, he says, getting a little twig to help him, is this bright green tree here. And the way that its colour stands out from, whoops, it's not up here, it's down here. It's the way that its colour stands out from the landscape. But when it's got sunlight on it, it absolutely sings. It just shouts about the season of spring. The thing that's bothering me, or initially bothered me about this composition, was, I can't quite see it on the Osmo screen. There's a V-shaped tree down in this area of the scene, which initially I thought, oh, that's okay. It can act as an arrow and point me into the scene, point the viewer at the subject, and I don't know, make the whole story, the reason behind the composition, that much more easy to understand, straightforward, obvious maybe as well. But in the bright sunshine, this tree, this fallen tree down here, it's actually got some bright bark on it. And in the bright sunshine, it's really bright. So much so, I think it has the impact of dragging my eye away from this tree and down here into the corner. So I moved myself, and I will move you in a second, and hopefully we'll be able to see the difference. But I just try and look at the Osmo screen, which is very small, so please forgive me. But what I'm trying to do, so I'm going portrait because that suits the subject. Let me just move the viewfinder out. And what I'm trying to do is contain the tree in the frame, not by itself, but with some of the surroundings, not have any sky. So I'm clipping out what's up above, and the bias of the frame is to the right, so that all these other trees alongside it, you know, it's on a slope, so it's quite a pleasing shape. It's quite appealing, and I think the other trees around it just help to add to that notion of spring. So my composition is something like that. But this tree, this fallen tree down here, that kept creeping into the frame. So I'm now positioned more or less in front of my stills camera. But just moving to the right of where we previously were has now created a bit of space between the fallen tree, which is now sort of over here somewhere, can't quite see it on the back of the Osmo, and our main subject. I'm actually slightly higher than the video camera. That's actually allowed a bit more separation between the top of the tree and the landscape beyond. Now, I'm not sure whether you're going to necessarily see it so clearly with the viewing aid, but just changing position, just fractionally, now enables me to concentrate on the subject and allow the subject on its own to tell its own story without having the distraction of this V shape that we've got down here in the corner. Now all I need to do is wait for that wonderful fusion of light where everything that's here is lit, but everything that's in the background is either in shadow or less lit, so that this subject and its surroundings stands out, looks a little bit more prominent, a bit more obvious. The only, I was going to say disadvantage, that's not fair. This is a compositional compromise, and I don't necessarily think that this is going to be an absolute belter of an image. I still think it's worth taking. But what I've got now, having repositioned myself to get rid of this V-shaped distraction, is I've got quite a lot of foreground in my frame. I think it's dead ferns, which in the sunlight are actually very bright. So in software, I think what I'm going to have to do is actually darken this area down so it's not quite so noticeable. I'll have to be careful though, because I won't want to make it look too obvious. But hopefully you can see on the video camera now where this tree is becoming illuminated, the foreground is becoming illuminated, but what's behind, certainly that hillside there, is still relatively dark. What I'd really like is the other one right behind to be as dark, but I'm not sure I'm going to get that. I think now it's just a little bit of a waiting game to wait for the light to cooperate so that I can grab the scene that I want. In fact, that one there on its own is quite nice, so I'm going to switch you off and go and hit the shutter button quick. So I just had a couple of occasions there where the light in front of me, the light level just lifted ever so slightly. Enough, I think, to enable the subject to stand out from the background. I don't know, maybe I'll need to muck around with a little bit in software just to make that a little bit more obvious. Also, looking back through the viewfinder, I am now wondering whether I might have to either put up with a triangle down in the corner or maybe actually clone it out. Remember, at the end of the day, sometimes composition is a compromise, and sometimes you have to accept that nature isn't going to just work for you. But these days, there's the software available to fix it for you. And I mean, it's ever so minor. It's a tiny little triangle, but I don't know, I think it makes such a difference. It either needs to be there and be obvious, or remove it completely and move on. I'm going to hang around a little bit longer. It's actually just started to rain, which is a little bit annoying, but there we go. I haven't seen the final image. You're going to see it in a moment. So I have no idea whether this has actually worked or not. I have no idea whether this video will make the light of day or not. If it's been published, then there's an image worth showing. Well, hopefully worth showing anyway. Technical details, Sigma FPL and the new Sigma 70-200 f2.8. I think it's a DGDN Sports. Fantastic lens. Well worth investing in if you want a 70-200 reach. As I'm talking to you, the light level has picked up ever so slightly, and I can now see that area of green standing out. The camera's shut down. Come on, come on, come on. Yay! Right, we'll see. Right, thank you very much for watching. As usual, I hope it's been useful. If you're not a subscriber and you like landscape photography, please consider becoming a subscriber. It's free and you can unsubscribe at any time. If you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. It's gratefully appreciated. Any comments, any suggestions, anything that you think where I've gone a little bit awry or I could do something different, please let me know in the comments below. And until we're next back out in the landscape, take care, stay well and stay safe. Bye for now. This rain can sod off. Yeah, I have to put my coat on.